Hey out there, all you wonderful people! Yeah, we're grooving on the groove train tonight. Oh yeah. But seriously, it's been a while, everybody, and I'm always so happy to get a chance to not be doing a bunch of 3D regular world stuff and take some time to kind of catch up with my spiritual celestial brothers and sisters out there. Alright. So, there's actually some pretty interesting things going on. I've got a really great link I'm gonna put up here right below the video. This very interesting guy from China claims he's a family member from the he was an astrologist to his family were astrologers to the big dynasties of emperors in China in the past. And so, I don't really necessarily believe anything, but, I like to just judge or think of things according to their own information. The messenger doesn't really matter. So his interesting insights, which there's so many and so there's just a lot going on. That's why I should just put the link. But to sort of briefly sum up what's going on with that, he's talking about that energetically speaking, by the time September gets around, there's going to be just a sort of state of consciousness in such a way that we can know how the next couple of years are going to play out according to what does or doesn't happen in the way that it does or doesn't happen in September. And, whatever. Take that for whatever. I guess, what did even excite me about his posts? I'm trying to even remember now. Because that's kind of it. He says if, Hillary Clinton gets elected, then we're totally screwed. But if Jeb Bush gets elected, we're also totally screwed, but in a more hopeful, kind of free anarchy kind of way. But then there's a chance that the Chinese dragon families could rise up and kind of save everything and make it more gentle. But it's like, wouldn't that what someone from China would say? Or, I mean, whatever. That's kind of all I got. So I'll just, as far as far out third party news, the other kind of really, for me personally anyway, where I'm at with things personally, this is coming up for me again and again, is actually how to deal with my own hatred better. I'm probably like many of you guys out there, we're thinking pretty far out. You know what I'm saying? We're thinking of the fractal of the universe as seen in life. But then when we look at life and it's like a chubby kid in an obnoxious t-shirt who's screaming for more milkshakes at the mall or something, see, even in my description you can tell my sort of things I like or dislike or what have you. But anyway, that's all fine. That's reasonable. But what's been very on the forefront that is worthwhile at maybe nitpicking about is how do we deal with being bothered by everything all the time? Because it's we have high expectations for ourselves. We see this this growth and blossoming that we want for the world, but in the meantime it's geez, am I bothered by everything. It's everything is kind of annoying. Everything is sort of low consciousness. Things that get a lot of money are just sort of vain or don't have real substance to it, and it's just sort of perpetuating, like, bad things to be excited about, and so I'm just bothered all the time. And in a way, it like builds up a lot of hate inside. So I've just been more clear with myself to treat the things that bother me, to treat the things that inspire frustration and even hatred, to treat those things with love, which seems so simple, but I think we get sort of caught up in a whirlwind of just being used to being so bothered by things. We think like, oh, that's little stuff. That's the little things, whatever. They're like flies around me. But then we can become like consumed by those bothers. And so actually taking the time to take a deep breath and be like, no, that doesn't bother me. Let the people who enjoy that, and I'm going to enjoy what I enjoy. So it's just sort of like a conscious, like, refocus, because we can be like, oh, that's so dumb and so stupid, and then we just leave it there in the dumb and stupid place in our mind, and then those accumulate. So I think that's actually, it's a simple little thing, but it's until we see these big changes like the Tao's talking about, for better, then it's important within ourselves to just sort of, let the bothers go. Let those bothers go, and then be the anti-bother. Be the thing that is like, no, this is cool. I'm gardening, or I'm outside meditating in the sun, or I'm going to the beach, or I'm going on a hike, or anything, when you can. And you'll still be bothered by things. So, yeah, but maybe you'll appreciate good times with like-minded friends a little more, or you'll appreciate those things a little bit more, that actually don't bother us. So, yeah, that's one little thing. I got into a big religious debate that upset a lot of people. That's sort of related to the last thing there. I was saying, like, because I like to go on that forum a lot, Godlike Productions, and it's just fun. It's just kind of Wild West fun over there. And a lot of, like, religious people will get on a soapbox, and they'll just be like, oh, man, they'll just say some things in certain ways that are just they're not spiritual at all, and they're very condemning, and they're very hateful, and so I like to make my counter posts because I get in my moods, and so I made this counter post that's like, Christ is not an individual. Christ is a way of being. Why can't we just focus on Christ-likeness and just see that the rest is a spiritual accessory? And, that is how I feel. I feel like all these religions, all the Abrahamic religions, all the major religions, they have these valuable, similar cores of spiritual, decent spiritual truth. It's like, yeah, live a balanced life, be kind to others, treat others the way you wish to be treated. But then they sort of sprinkle in the stuff like, oh, and you've also got to worship this deity that goes by this certain name on this certain day of the week, through a symbolic blood ritual, with a human sacrifice in it, and you can go ahead and wear the guy around your neck, hanging on the cross while he's dying, even though we say not to worship idols or anything, so on and so forth. And you see, and this is why I bring this up. I ultimately found I was just sort of opening up a can of hatred. And again, me being bothered and me being frustrated made me express myself a certain way, And it's like, yeah, you know what, I may be right, but that doesn't mean I wasn't acting like an asshole. That doesn't mean I wasn't then just getting on my high horse, saying what I think is right, you know, which is fine. That's fine to do. But it's like, is your heart coming from a place of love? That's what it really made it very clear to me. Again, that similar theme, that this has been my theme for lately. Just as I'm sure for you, there's been your themes of like, this is at the forefront of your life. This is coming up again and again, and that's where we're at. And so for me, I need to check myself. Am I coming from a place of love towards this thing I'm frustrated at? And in that particular circumstance, the answer was no. And I didn't figure that out until like 4 pages later of arguing and being like, oh, da da da, da 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 da. And then they're like, well, what about this, you devious heathen, and da da da. And it just is like, not a product of love. So, so yeah, and it's, I appreciate how life is gentle with me. Life is very much more than fair in, showing these things to me, where it doesn't reach the point where it's got to be this huge fiasco and that's the only way that I'll like put my life back together the way it's supposed to be. It's like, no, I'm, conscious and want to do the right thing. And I think putting that out there, it's like, okay, here's your message. I think that's our spirit, our grander portion of self, who is orchestrating for us down here. I want to say the little guy, but we're not little. We're like we're kind of like the liver of the cosmic self, who is digesting the maybe more dense material, so that the grander aspect of self is sort of doing the grander aspect stuff and doesn't have to worry about the dense level of stuff. That's for us to worry about. So, yeah, along that same line of like, when make it known that you are consciously open, that you want to go in the right direction, and then the lessons come to us the same as they always do, but they're a little more gentle, they're a little more subtle. They don't have to shake up our lives as much when we make that connection known, make that desire known, make that our desire. And kind of this goes into another thing I wanted to talk about, of something I've talked about again and again, is consciously using our consciousness. There's all this hullabaloo about the 4th of July. We got like FBI, like secret centers set up across the nation to watch out for like secret ISIS operatives who are like wearing rainbow Confederate flag bikinis and riding in on giant jumbo dogs of freedom, but they're not. No, I'm being kind of silly. But there's been all this like focus on this thing that will make you choose like this side or that side, and then focus on this thing that'll make you choose this side or that side. I'm thinking of specifically the Confederate flag and the gay marriage, which is, I think, very progressive and very exciting moves forward, and it's like, hey, cool, that's great. But at the same time, I can't help but see how those kind of instantaneous shifts are going to divide people, and make it very easy to be like, well, now I'm on my side and you're on your side. And so I thought they were sort of structuring this perfect storm scenario so that everybody's sort of flustered over this or that. And then the 4th of July comes, and there was going to be some false flag inciting event. And they were being so sloppy about it, they had to cover it on the news to make it seem like, oh, we're just being overly cautious about ISIS showing up on the 4th and doing some big attack. There was like a guy on the news who accidentally slipped out. He's like, we've been briefing for weeks and we're concerned about the entry points to main events and we're concerned about the nuclear explosive devices under New York City and where and then he like stumbles, is like, wait a minute. So I was like, oh hell no, they're gonna try and like set off some dirty bombs and like while everybody's all weird, and this is like what they do. This is the black magic recipe for disaster kind of thing. So I put my big boy shoes on and I thought like, no, not gonna let this happen. So I was meditating, and I put out another random thread on GLP, like, let's meditate together so that no false flag happens. Let's focus on, like, they try to ignite the device. If that's what they're doing, they try to ignite it and it won't go off. Even if a non-physical force has to get involved, the explosive device just will not work. I kind of have this meditation I do where the people who do corrupt and evil actions, things are made more difficult for them because of their own doing. Because what they work with energetically is like poor scaffolding. It's like a house of cards it's always falling, and it always needs to be like rebuilt. And it's always got to be built in the shadows, because if it was like in the light of obviousness and truth, it just has no energetic support. So I'm always meditating lately that those who are doing those kind of devious deeds are having a tougher and tougher time. It's just more and more difficult, more things get in the way. They try to click the trigger, and some force is just making the trigger just not work. It just is like every time it's just exponentially more and more difficult. And then on the other side of it, the good-hearted people who are trying to like share their own truth or find their own truth, who are on a path of their own self-discovery, and their heart is in the right place. They want benefit for themselves and benefit for other people. Things are more and more easier for them. Things just seem to work out, seem to line up just right. And it's like, oh yeah, of course, met with less and less resistance. Because their energetic support is like, can stand out in obviousness, can stand like to be in the light of truth, so to speak. And it's like solid. It's like the light of the sun, the light of stars that like burns and burns for billions of years. Like that kind of like a heartfelt. It's in the realm of unconditional love. It's like the vibration. You can feel the difference in these like wavelengths. Again, seemingly very obvious stuff, but lately has become more and more pronounced. And then even in that, I think about like, well, should you put should I put a say out on this or that way of being? Should I try to energize this approach, and I should try to take energy away from that approach? And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think each individual, of course, should be free to express themselves, and they should do whatever approach they deem fit. And reality in the universe will do with them what should be whatever. Their own spirit will like take care of all that. So in a way, I'm even realizing just sort of right now, I don't necessarily need to meddle with that energy either. But at the same time, I felt like we've just been so saturated in shit that it's like, no, I don't want any more of these bad things to like go through, and for us to get Patriot Act 2.0 and to like have an even more difficult time at the airport, or just have like more military presence in our neighborhoods, or this more like kind of, you know, martial law kind of vibes going. And because I know that's what they want, only because it makes money, only because the military industrial complex is like, they always want a lot of money, and they've gotten used to getting a lot of money, and you need reasons to spend a lot of money. And you know, America, we don't have the most money, but what we do have is like military strategic power. And so there's these groups that are like, well, if we can shake things up and we got a reason to go over here and invade here, or to invade our own people, that's how we're going to keep the rationale of like, well, you need to keep pumping in the money we don't have into us for these devious reasons. So that, for me, I am personally like, no, in my own meditations, I'm going to focus on that structure, and I'm going to be like, it's fallen apart for you. It's not working for those people who have gotten used to that. It's a different era now. And then, so from there then, it's like, let's say we do get our peaceful era. Let's say that it's actually like, we do get like a soft landing, consciousness is raising up, like, you know, we have like, there's little things I've seen that are kind of promising, like fast food places that are all vegetarian, or you know, like electric cars, and you know, new energy sources. The 3D solar cells are really cool. They produce 20% more, or no, not 20%, 20 times more energy than previous solar cell technology, and they're less expensive than they were when they originally came out. So I feel all these exponentially like really great things like working out, and everybody seeing through the crap that is the crap, and that stuff is having a tougher time. And I am hopeful that we do not simply put our feet up if we do like actually start achieving like what we're out to achieve, which is like kind of just a better world for everybody, a more energetically free, less like socially imposing like cultures and lifestyles. I just think it's a chance to become even stronger. It's like we're still here, when we're in the dark ages, it's just like desperation, like survival, like trying to even become like spiritually like strong and aware that's like, good job everybody, because that's not easy. It's not easy to even just like survive. So if we are finding ourselves, you know, in our own lives where things are just suddenly like, oh, this is easier and easier and everything is breezy and like working out, that's our chance to share that. And it's like, you know what, it was so hard to get this strength when it was this hard around me, Now it's this much easier around me. I can get even stronger now. It's not a time to do nothing. It's a time to be like, oh, things are opened up even more. I'm going to open up even more. I'm going to try to push this down this avenue and make this work because that avenue wasn't there before. It's not a time to just chill and soak it all in and put our feet up. It's now we get our chance to show what we're made of. To actually we thought we could spiritually develop, as it is right now. It's now we can spiritually develop so much more. And even just take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And then and we're sharing that with these people in this way, subtly without being pushy, or we're trying to start this little community thing, or just helping out at this pre-existing community thing. Taking the time to create more art that contains, your own path and your own evolution. Just all the good stuff. Listen to your heart. Just put that call to your heart of, what is personally going to be good for me and what is going to be good for everything around me right now. With things are, or with, that's fine. Because things are going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a different energetic environment. And again, this is me. I'm rapping with you guys. I don't know what I believe or what I don't believe, but these are the feelings I have strong in my heart, and in a way that's good enough for me. So that's basically it. Go on and just do your own meditation from here. That's actually the perfect thing to do. So I'm gonna leave you guys to your own personal meditation. After your own personal meditation, if anything comes to you, write it down in the comment section below. If there's any links to any worthwhile new information, please also put those in the links below. And until next time, guys, just keep on keeping on. All you beautiful people. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you all so much. And until next time, talk to you later.